along the
Okay.
wall, which was in the original design, but the city did not approve of that only because it's such a tight space, especially when we were trying to create more seating that was going along the hallway because the other challenge was that the front door to the restaurant is facing a main road, and it's not really where most customers will be coming in. Most customers will be coming in from the back way, which is where the parking lot is. So it's kind of
Oh,
weird. It's like you're entering the restaurant or the retail space from the back door. So it's the first thing
yeah.
you see is the kitchen and the bathroom, and then you walk like further to the front, and that's where you order your ice cream or your drink or things like that. So that was
Okay.
one
So
of
that,
the challenges, is
so
to
how did you
kind of
know that? Sorry, I'm so sorry. Go ahead.
so that was one of the challenges where it was to lure customers in to the space and kind of see, oh, what is this restaurant, because before that the restaurant was located in southern Orange County, and Alhambra has never seen Mr. Matcha before. So that's
Oh,
where I came in and created the grand opening sign, which was hung in the back parking lot for them to see, kind of like, oh, like, what is this restaurant, or ice cream shop? I want to check it out, things like that.
so you solved the problem of the back door by using the grand opening banner.
Mhm.
Was there anything else that maybe you decorated that when they enter the door, the front door at the back? So there's some colorful decorations or something that pulls them in.
Um, so the color choice on the wall is one of them. We use this bright green that's supposed to mimic how the color of the matcha ice cream turns out when it comes out of the machine. And so we use
Okay.
that bright green on the wall, so that kind of lures customer in for their curiosity, kind of like, what is this bright shot?
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
and then there's these vinyl stickers on the wall that kind of give customers an insight on what matcha is, what are the benefits of it, what type of um, food products they use within their matcha ice cream.
Okay. That's nice.
Um, that one, the vinyl on that wall though was created by their marketing team.
Okay. Okay. Uh, so this was one challenge, the back entrance. The other, you were saying how the contractors weren't as experienced and there was less money. So the near space one, and the are you there with me?
Hmm.
Okay, so you know how you created those floating shelves which weren't approved by the city. So what did you do when those weren't approved? How did you solve the issue of seating?
Um, so we basically, so the other investors within the company just said, okay, well then we'll just not have a table, but we'll have the seating so that customers can move the seating whichever way they want to move it along that long hallway or up to the very front. So it's just modular seating that they can move wherever they'd like.
Okay, and no floating shelves.
Yeah, no floating shelves.
Didn't that create an issue where, like, if somebody needs to put their ice cream, for a minute or two, where are they need a table?
Um, I feel like most people would just walk out with their ice cream only because it's not a very big open space. But I do see customers who do eat their ice cream there, and most of the time they eat it out of the cup rather than the cone. So
Okay,
if they did have a cone, I'd try they had a friend with them that would hold it for them if they needed to place it down while doing something
okay,
else.
so there wasn't any issue with there not being any table.
Mhm.
Okay, that's great. Okay, let's go to the Garden Grove one. One of
Okay.
the first things you've written here is that you collaborated with a team of four. Can you
Huh.
elaborate a little bit? Who are these people? Were they part of your team or were they part of the Mr. Macho team and you were just collaborating with them? Were you acting
They
as a team
were
lead?
part they were part of the Mr. Matcha team. Um, so team of four, that's, you know, one including the contractor,
Okay.
and then three including the workers or the owners of Mr. Matcha. And so this one, the challenge was that it's a shared space. Um,
Okay.
I think you have the portfolio and it's in there, but on the it's a shared space. So on the other end of the shop, it's a bar.
Okay.
And this one, the location was also located in the back side of the unit. And
Okay.
the entrance, you can also enter through the back side, but you have to go through a patio space. And that's
Okay.
where the challenge was because it's a shared space with a bar, so they couldn't have, you know, an open gate without a door. It has to have a gate because there's alcohol being served. And so
Okay.
the challenge there was having a closed door and while creating, you know, this aesthetic feel to it. There's three owners of Mr. or three, I guess, I think there's more owners to Mr. Matcha than just three, but I only spoke with three. And the
Okay.
main one, the one with the vision, is someone who had just came back from Japan, working in Japan for a couple of years, and he had this vision of wanting a classy ice cream shop, things like that. But the challenge there was that they didn't have that much money to work with. And so with having a classy Japanese look where Japanese design are always using real raw materials rather than man-made materials, it was a challenge because you want that look, but at the same time they couldn't afford it. And so we used vinyl wood along the walls,
Okay. That's
and
smart.
then painting the front between the front POS counter, the black column and that black accent wall to make it look slightly classier. The POS counter was honestly a disaster because the contractor didn't know how to create that look, especially the
Okay.
concrete look. So they ended up having to cover it up with the vinyl wood.
Okay. So was that your idea? Covering it up?
um, I they I think the contractor is the one who came up with that idea
Okay.
because they had leftover wood.
Okay. And
And
did
then
they consult you or ask you, we screwed up, we're thinking of doing this. What do you think? Did they consult you? Did you give them your approval?
yeah, so they would say, oh, like the POS counter didn't turn out like how we wanted it. We're thinking to put the wood that we have on the wall. What do you think? And I would say, yeah, that would look good, or if no, that wouldn't look good.
Okay, okay. So you were approving of all the changes as you
Yes.
know. So one of the challenges was there not being a lot of money, and you address that. But then you
Mhm.
also first talked about the backside location and the shed space and how the gate needed to be closed. So I see that again this challenge of having to lure customers in. So what did you do in that regard?
Um. So for the gate, they had to buy a whole new push lock gate door thing, like something like I don't know what's the correct term, but it's a push lock gate. So I had to refer them to a a landscape designer that knows more about retail patio spaces. And
Okay.
we hired him. He only did the work halfway because I think he just wasn't as experienced as he made himself out to be.
Okay.
The design in the portfolio of the patio space was not approved because there was too many wood materials too close to the building, especially when the building is a historic building itself. So that was another challenge where we couldn't change up the exterior too much and pick whatever color we wanted because it's a historic building. So we had to go with colors that were within the palette among the other stores next to it.
Okay, okay. So that's a big challenge. So when you say that the design wasn't approved, was it the design that the landscape designer was coming up with?
No, so the design wasn't approved, was the design that I had created for them. The
Okay.
landscape designer was just supposed to make the furniture pieces of the exterior.
Okay.
But yeah, so the design that's in my portfolio wasn't approved by the city. So we had to
Okay,
come up
so
with another design.
okay, so you came up with another design. How did you change it so that it would be approved?
Um, I didn't do that part. Their friend did that part.
Okay, so then they asked somebody else to design.
Yeah.
So was that design just for the front or for the entire store? That then so you were
It
working with them and
That design was for the patio space, which is in the back of the store. The front of the store is the bar area.
okay, okay, okay. So they had somebody else come and design the patio space.
Yes.
Okay, okay, I understand that. Was there anything else that you want to mention for this, especially in terms of the contractor? Because you said that in source work and labor, including finding the commercial contractor, materials, and additional research. So I seem like you did some, you had I there seem to be some challenges there.
Um, with this, the challenges with their contractor was mainly just putting on the materials correctly, installing, the wood, or even just creating that POS counter was a challenge only because they weren't as experienced. So this one, I was on site a few times to oversee the work. Um,
Okay,
Even the pickup sign or order here sign, that was designed by me.
okay. So you really were, you know, really involved because you were even doing some small things as you order and pick up signs.
Mhm.
Okay, that's great. So it seems like a nice project that we can put in. And
Mhm.
then we already covered the Cauldron one, and then there's the Intertrans Express Inc., which is also in Alhambra.
Okay, so that one was a very fast-paced project. That one, I just they were moving offices to a next door. The office was next door, literally.
Okay.
Um, this one, they don't have. It's an office just for workers. They don't have that many clients coming in that space, so they wanted
Okay.
to create a more modern, open look because their furniture pieces before were a lot of, or it looked like a lot of hand-me-down furnitures or furniture pieces that the owner had bought after a furniture had just
Can you?
collapsed. Or
Okay, okay. What was this office for?
they are a logistics company
Okay,
for shipping international goods into the States.
okay, okay. So you just when they were moving offices next doors, you picked up furniture and designed that space?
Yeah, so for that one, I just created a more modern design for their office space. Um, Came up with better solutions for where to store and file their paperwork, because
Okay.
before um, they would have a lot of paperwork just sitting on top of the desk. And
Okay.
the old office had two sides. One was sales, and the other side was consulting, I believe. I don't remember. This project has been so long ago.
Okay, sure.
But their new office was also, the layout was also the same, where one side was sales and the other one was consulting. And
Okay.
so there was a huge difference between the two, because one side would be neat and tidy and the other side would have a bunch of papers, as if they were at
Oh,
like an accounting firm or something like that.
okay.
So that was I where the challenge was, to make both sides cohesive and look like the same office as well.
Okay. So you
Um,
solved by solving the filing issue. What solution did you come up with?
um, Individual file cabinets per worker at the company, and also just having more file cabinets within each side where they could store things after, within a year, just file everything in there, and then
Okay.
after a new year they would just continue to use the one that's within their desk.
Okay. Okay. And you said that you advised palette choices to create a modern, functional, and spacious atmosphere. Can you elaborate a little bit more on that? How did
So
you? Sure.
for
Go ahead.
that, I know it. I sat in their office for a couple of hours just to see how the people in the office function within the space. And with
That's
their
really.
old, sorry, what did you say?
No, I was just complimenting you. That's really smart that you just took the time to observe how people functioned in that environment.
Hmm. And it seems like it's a very fast-paced environment. A lot of the workers will get up halfway through doing their work and walk over to someone else and pass whatever they were working with along to the next person. So with the old space, their color choices, there wasn't any color schemes going on within the space besides the green carpet and the white walls. And so
Okay.
my original design was that I wanted to have a pop of color on the wall, which was orange, because I think orange is a bright color and it matches with the environment and how fast paced it is. Um, but since most of the workers who work there are middle age or older, they weren't very open to the bright modern orange color. So I changed it to a blue. It's like it's not quite a navy blue, but it's not quite like the true blue, I guess.
Okay.
But
And this
that,
color that brought in that there was color, but it wasn't distracting. That's what you mean?
yes, yes.
Okay. So you used the color palette to basically match the fast-paced environment of the office. What else? What about the furniture and the way the furniture was arranged? Because you said that people were just moving up and talking to each other, and there was a lot of, it seemed like a lot of collaboration was going on where people needed to constantly be moving and having access to each other. So how did you incorporate that in the furniture and the space layout?
Um, so let me pull this up actually.
Are you there?
Yes, I am pulling up the work real quick.
Oh, sure. Sure, go ahead.
Okay, so on the consulting side, I basically just created. Well, they wanted to have a space for the manager where there's privacy. So that's where I created a modular wall system that is within the open space so that you can still walk into the manager's office without feeling intimidated because it's not a closed room per se. It's just a modular wall with glass panels for both sides. And the sales side, their desks aren't touching each other, but they're next to each other or behind it. And so it's easier to communicate that way rather than having to get up. Their new space was a smaller office, actually. It's not bigger. And so it's easier to talk to someone that's 2 desks down or on the other side. And then the sales side, I think that's the one that had the most foot traffic. And that one, I had the desk shaped more in a U shape. And they're mirrored on the opposite side after the center walking pathway.
Okay, that's nice. Is that all?
Yes.
You said that you consulted with a team of 4. Can you just tell me a little about that team?
The team of 4.